What is up, human debris and Galahorn peacekeepers? I am just a simple new type, and we have finally made it to the post-disaster universe. In this episode, we are beginning our coverage of iron-blooded orphans. 300 years ago, the Calamity War tore the Earth sphere apart. It was the Seven Stars who brought order back. Now this military group goes by Galahorn, and they are starting to lose control on Mars due to a PMC and some slave children. In this episode, we will meet Orga and Mikazuki, who start a revolution against the powers that be with the help of their Calamity War-era mobile suit. Raise your flags, and let's get into this. Post-disaster, 315. Mikazuki shoots someone with Orga watching. We cut 8 years into the future to post-disaster, 323. The two boys, now teenagers, are being summoned by Maruba, president of Crise Guard Security, or CGS. This is a PMC. Mikazuki looks up at a mobile suit. They are currently in the Crise Autonomous Region. The kids are assigned to watch over Cordelia Bernstein as she heads to Earth. Orga and Biscuit, along with the other children, are a part of the third team. While some of the kids are placing landmines, Eugene, Mikazuki, and Akihito have a mock battle using a mobile worker. The TK-53 CGS mobile worker, also known as the Tekadon mobile worker, runs on hydrogen engines, unlike mobile suits' AHAB reactors. Weapons include two 30mm machine guns, a smoke discharger, and two missile pods. Weapons are replaced with a flatbed when not in combat. These units use the Alea Vignana system. The third team is excited for this mission, but Orga reminds everyone that Maruba thinks of them as expendable. Cordelia is heading to Earth to act as a mediator. She chose the third team to help her so she could share in their pain. Meanwhile, her dad, Norman, is being chastised by Corellia for her actions. She seems to be popular with the disenfranchised on Mars. Norman is a cowardly man and throws his daughter under the bus. Coral is the commander of the Galahorn Martian branch. He sends out Orlis, Crank, and Ein. Out in space near the Mars sphere is McGillis and Galio in a Bisco class. The Bisco class is a light cruiser operated by Galahorn. It is designed for space navigation and is used by civilians along with the military. The rear of the ship is a container, and mobile suits can be carried on board. This has no weapons. Galio and McGinnis are a part of Galahorn's auditing team to ensure Mars maintains order. These two look like their nights out involve a lot of cocaine. We see that on the back of these children, they have protrusions in their spine. This is a man-machine interface called the Alea Vignana system. It is a painful implant that is added to the spine. This allows mobile suits to offload some of the cognitive load. It gives the pilot another lobe that allows for greater spatial awareness. We will learn more about this as we go along. As painful as it is, it seems better than not having work. In Crise City, the people are demanding independence from the Earth sphere. A girl named Atra makes a bracelet for Mikazuki, who I am just going to call Mika from now on. Cordelia meets with the third team. She wants Mika to show her around while they brief Orga. She also wants Mika to shake her hand, but he sees that she is just virtue signaling. Cordelia's journey is about going from keyboard warrior to real leader. Meanwhile, Biscuit thinks that this may all be a trap. Snipers take out some of the children guarding on the outside, but the PMC sets off flares. They were spotted quickly. The Galahorn team moves in. Mobile workers begin fighting each other. Biscuit says they are picking up AHAB waves. AHAB waves are able to disrupt radio waves, communications, and guided weapons. They find out it is Galahorn. Danji wants to go fight. Don't do it, Danji. Biscuit preps their mobile suit. Orga commands the mobile workers on the battlefield, while the president and everyone else flees. They are letting the children handle their dirty work. But Biscuit triggers the first team's flares, giving away their signal. Now they are forced into helping. Crank, Ein, and Orlis join the battle in their Greys. The EB-06 Greys is Galahorn's state-of-the-art mobile suit, and the successor to the Girel, and its lineage can be traced back to the Calamity Wars. This is a general-purpose mobile suit and can adapt to various loadouts and environments. The Greys' frame is lighter than a Gundam frame. It has a booster unit for high-speed movements, a glider for atmospheric battles, and a head sphere sensor. Weapons include a 120mm rifle which can be reconfigured into a short rifle, a battle axe, a shield, a bazooka, and a battle blade. He tells Mika to head back to the base. Meanwhile, Danji gets punted like a football. Bye, Danji. As Orlis goes into attack, out of the Mars rubble comes Gundam Barbados. The ASWG-08 Gundam Barbados is one of the 72 Gundam frames made during the Calamity Wars. When found by the third team, it was missing the cockpit, so they added the mobile worker cockpit with the Alea Vignana system. This Gundam also uses hydrogen fuel. This has two AHAB reactors, which gives this unit versatility. It will also get upgraded to different forms as time goes by. But we start with the first form, which is the original state that it was founded by CGS. It has 2 arms in the backpack. Its iconic weapon is the mace, shielded with nanolaminate armor. Other weapons include a long sword, a gauntlet, and a winch mace. More weapons will be added depending on the form. Mika rushes in and impales the Grays. This is a one-hit kill, instantly taking out Orlis. Before launching, the mechanic working on Barbados is Nadi. He mentions this is powering the facility and how the Alaya Vinyana system can only be used on growing children. This is a barbaric process, but it does allow someone like Mika, with no education and no training, to function a machine like this. No new type powers necessary here. They all take it in strides, but Kudelia thinks it is horrific. He plugs in. The first boot up process is a little rough. Also, why does the English dub say Barbados weird?
Barbados.
Sunrise localization sucks. It's named after Barbados, the god of freedom, just like how pirates use it. But some of you are still gonna say it weird because some idiot over at Sunrise US failed at their job. Back in the present, Ein and Crank are stunned that they just killed Orlis. They rush in. Barbados attacks Ein. As Crank comes in, Mika is running out of gas. Crank takes this opportunity to retreat with Ein. The Gundam is straining Mika's body. Coral is mad that his plan failed. They wanted to take out Kudelia so they could sow hate and get a war going. They are also trying to get funding from a mysterious man named Nobilis. Crank tells them they are fighting against children, but Coral tells him to man up and kill those kids. One cries for Danji, saying that he always wanted to die between huge titties. It wasn't supposed to be like this. 42 children died from the third group from this incident. Muraba bailed, and the first group are trying to plan their next move. Also, Biscuit's sisters are named Cookie and Cracker. Meanwhile, Haeda from the first team beats up Orga for saving them, I guess. He is trying to keep the kids in line, as no one will ever care about their needs. The kids want a revolution, but Orga says it's up to Mika. He goes, "Hey man, revolution?" Mika goes, "Yeah, sure." He hands him a gun. Meanwhile, McGillis and Galio meet with Coral. Coral! Kudelia wants to help with the cooking, but she was raised privileged, so she is more in the way. We get this slice of life moment for a minute, but Mika tells the girls, "Hey, BRB, I need to go start a revolution." The first team all wake up with their hands tied behind their backs. They were sedated by the soup. Orga calls them cowards who must pay for killing their brothers. Mika kills Haeda and another who tries to fight back. The third team is in charge now. The accountant wants to leave, but Biscuit says, "Actually, we need you. You're the one person that can't leave." Sucks to be that guy. Toto, one of the first team members, is going to help them. Everyone's like, "Yo, man, you got a Hitler mustache. You're totally gonna betray us." The accountant says that they have about 3 months until they run out of money. They need a client or they're going to go under. But Toto says that they have to take out Galahorn if they want clients. That is when one Galahorn mobile suit comes in wearing a red cloak. Before the Calamity Wars, most men settled their disputes over a duel. This is the first person that is utilizing this in 300 years. He demands Kudelia if he wins this battle. He says that if they win, their feud will end here. Kudelia says that she will just go and talk to them, but Orga doesn't know his true intentions. Because of this, they can't take the risk, but they agree to the duel. Kudelia thinks that she should get the Alaya Vinyana system, but Orga mentions that 4 out of the 10 kids who got the implants when Orga and Mika got it were paralyzed. Most doctors would say it isn't the risk, but these kids are disposable. Earlier, Atra had Nadi give Mika a good luck bracelet before the battle. The duel begins. He never wanted to see kids die on the battlefield, so he decides to kill one more kid on the battlefield. Orga says that Mika had the Alaya Vinyana surgery 3 times. Kudelia wants to fight and be as strong as Mika, but her place won't be on the battlefield. Crank disarms Barbados. He goes in with the battle axe, but Mika goes low, picks up the mace, and impales him with the handle of the mace. The Grays goes down. Orga says that they have to change their name. He decides to call their new team Tekadon. Crank disobeyed orders to come here and win. He can't go back as a loser, or his men will be shamed. To save face, he wants Mika to do... He wanted Mika to do that. Damn, dude, you could have given him a moment. He smells the bracelet Atra gave him. They are certain they are going to start a war with Galahorn, and now they are even more desperate for money. Kudelia says that she needs to go to Earth and will still hire them. She is sure that her sponsor, Nobilis Gordon, would be willing to sponsor them as well. It looks like Tekadon remains in business for now. Toto is trying to find an out because of his mustache. Their plan for transporting Kudelia is to head to an orbital mass driver, then transfer to geosynchronous orbit, and then head to Earth. They're going to have to take some scenic routes, but that will be full of civilian terrorists that may be just as bad as Galahorn. Toto suggests the Orcus Company routes. Eugene says, "Yo, we really letting this guy talk still?" Orcus says that they will keep him in order. At Hakafune, they have a ship called Will of the Wisps. They will send Akihiro to go pick it up. They have to take this seriously as this is their first official mission as Tekkadan. Coral meets with McGillis and Galio, who are going through all the details of their operation and budget. He is afraid of what the two will find in their audit, and he tries to not so subtly bribe them. McGillis says, "Bitch, we are Space Doge. We are cutting the fat in here. Don't make me cut you." Coral blames Crank for all of this. They are prepping Barbados for space, but Nadi doesn't even know if the Gundam can function in space. Meanwhile, Akihiro and his team are at Krise. He flashes back to a conversation with Orga. Orga hands him his contract, which is essentially a human pink slip. Akihiro is effectively a slave to Maruba and CGS. If you notice, he has a red stripe through his uniform, which signifies who is human debris. Handing a contract back to human debris effectively makes him a free man. They choose to stay and help Tekkadan. The team cuts a deal with Orgus, but they get 45% of the profits, which is a hefty chunk. Toto, you dick. Noblest Gordon wires money to Kudelia. This is a flashback. She thinks she is weak and wants to do well by Tekkadan. Mika asks her to come with him. McGillis and Galio are on Mars searching for Kudelia themselves. She was said to be negotiating with Arbrow. Gallahorn on Earth is made up of 4 economic blocks. The Strategic Alliance Union, which is North America and South America. The African Union represents Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. The Oceania Federation is Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. What the hell happened to Sydney in this universe? And finally, Arbrow, which is Russia, Canada, and Alaska. There's a timeline where Russia finally claims Alaska. What a world. Coral also met with Kudelia's father. They believe Coral is targeting her. Mika takes Kudelia to Sakura Farms, owned by Biscuit's grandmother, Sakura Pretzel. Mika thanks Atra for the good luck charm. It's time to harvest some corn. Corn! If you know that reference, you are going to hell. Mika tells Kudelia that Sakura Farms sells the corn at $50 per 10 kilos. Most of this is used for biofuel. It provides minuscule amounts of money, and Biscuit helps bring in the rest. He mentions human debris and how they will never find work, even once free. Things here on Mars are rough, so he thanks Kudelia for hiring them. Atra is getting jealous. Galio almost hits Cookie and Cracker with his car. Mika doesn't hesitate to respond. He says this cookie doesn't crumble. Sakura tells her to let him go. They weren't harmed. Biscuit notes the logo. Kudelia's maid, Fumitan, also notes this, and she tells Kudelia to hide in the corn. Mika apologizes to Galio, but he tries to punch him. Mika dodges with ease. He notices the Alea Vignana system. Galio is sickened by this. McGillis apologizes to the kids and entices them with candy. He asks about the battle around here recently. Biscuit makes up a story about military training happening around here. McGillis tells Mika he would make a great soldier and makes his leave with his boyfriend. McGillis knows that CGS existed and is now under control of Tekkadan. He knows the kid is a part of it. When Mika gets back to Tekkadan, Olga shows off their new logo. He says they must protect this. Meanwhile, Toto and his mustache are planning something. Orga meets with Mr. Orcus and his team. They finalize their deal to travel under their protection. Coral is going through some self-hate when he is informed of Orcus wanting to help them steal Kudelia. He is plotting against Tekkadan already. Ein wants to avenge Lieutenant Crank. Mika gives Kudelia some Mars palms, which is a date, as he stands watch for the night. This is what Mika is eating throughout the series. High fiber. His poops are probably very healthy. Kudelia eats it and is disgusted. Orga also turned this down earlier. It seems it's Mika that only likes him. The next day, Atra wants to join Tekkadan. She even quit her job. She is welcomed with smiles, but Eugene doesn't like how laid back everyone is. Coral, desperate to cover up his mistake, informs McGillis of where Kudelia will be. McGillis thinks that having her will pacify the Martian citizens, so he is down with helping Coral in his ruse. Remember, Coral too is trying to get that funding from Nobilis. Kudelia finally departs from Mars to Earth. As they leave, they spot a ship, but it is too early. The ship sends out mobile suits. It isn't Orcus, it is Gallahorn. Eugene instantly goes, "Toto, what the hell did you and your mustache do?" These grazes are purple colored to designate a space type. This is similar to the Leos in Gundam Wing, where ground units were green and space units were purple. Coral is in the Grays Commander type. The EB-06S Grays Commander type is identical to the standard Grays, with the exception of the improved antenna for upgraded communications. It gives this unit good range even under Ahab waves. This unit has a rear skirt on the booster pack. The Commander type also has the same loadout as the standard Grays. They want Kudelia. They open up their cargo bay where Mika is waiting in Barbados. This is Barbados' second form. The second form of Barbados is the first under Tekkadan. It uses the shoulder armor from a captured Graze, giving it the nano-laminate armor. He attacks one of the Grazes. McGillis doesn't want them killed, but Coral doesn't seem to care. Ein thinks this isn't the way Crank would handle this. Also, why did Atra join them on this journey? Orcus begins firing, but someone fires on them. It is Akihito and the human debris crew in the Will of the Wisps. It is an Isabari. The Isabari is Tekkadan's flagship under command of Orga. The bridge extends out during combat situations. This doesn't have the nano-laminate armor. The mobile suit hangar is located underneath the hull. Weapons include a main gun with anti-aircraft guns and a missile launcher. It has a wire anchor and can utilize the Alea Vignana system. The designer Ebikawa said it is 3 times wider than the Ptolemaeus. Coral rushes at Mika, but he is shot by a Graze. It is Akihito in the stolen Graze. He throws Barbados' mace at Mika. He grabs it and impales the torso of the Graze, killing Coral. Ein rushes Akihito. While the third guy is dead before I could even finish this sentence, let me finish! Mika is met with a new mobile suit. It is Galio in the Schwalbe Graze. The EB-05S Schwalbe Graze was born during Graze's development process, with the desire to create a high-output, high-mobility variant. Its mobility is thanks to the flight unit. This was planned for mass production, but was too cost-effective. Very few of these have been produced, and it is considered a command unit on the battlefield. Galio's unit has a purple color scheme, and a lance held in the right arm. Weapons include a wire claw, a 120mm rifle with a short rifle optional config, and a battle axe. It also has a head sphere sensor. McGillis is able to locate information on the Gundam and find that it is from the Calamity Wars. He says that anytime a Gundam shows up, history books are written. He heads out in his Schwalbe Graze. McGillis rushes in and spots a weakness in the nano-laminate armor. He fires at Mika. Will of the Wisps is being attacked as they lose attitude. There is a mobile worker near an asteroid in the distance. They can swing around with the help of the mobile worker. Orga wants to go out, but Eugene tells him he has to be a captain. He will head out. Orcus thinks they're using the asteroid as cover. Will of the Wisp fires their anchor, allowing Eugene to approach the asteroid in the mobile worker space type. The TK-53S CGS mobile worker space type is a space variant of the mobile worker. This has propellant tanks and vernier thrusters instead of wheels. Weapons include a 30mm machine gun, an 8-tube missile pod, and a bomb container. It uses the Alea Vignana system. Eugene fires on the asteroid. He dumps propellant and fires it, causing an explosion. This moves the meteor, causing a short spin in the asteroid, catching the Orcus team off guard. The 2 Schwalbe Grazes try to capture Barbados. He recognizes the voice as the kid they met on Mars, since McGillis gave the kids chocolates. Mika goes, "Oh hey, it's Chocolate Man." He throws his mace at Galio, roughing him up. That mace is quite an effective weapon. Will of the Wisp passes by and Barbados grabs on. Tekkadan makes their escape. "We will meet once again, Chocolate Man!" Also, Ein is crying. I bet he's still hung up on Crank. McGillis receives a spot coffin. It happens to be Toto telling Gallahorn to deal with this traitor. McGillis decides to not chase them after they have a lot to deal with after the death of Coral. Nadi is mad that there are no real records on Barbados. At the same time, both Nadi and McGillis discuss the Calamity Wars from the past. Barbados is one of 72 machines that are called a Gundam. There are 2 Ahab reactors on these units. The Alea Vignana system seems to operate one of them, now that they don't have Orcus. They need another guide. Perhaps they could rely on Tewaz. They are a conglomerate around the Jupiter sphere that functions like a gang. Fumitan explains Ariadna to the crew. Since Ahab waves mess with communication, there is a network of individuals that bounce messages off of one another in what they refer to as a cocoon. This seems to be similar to how the onion router works, so you weirdos can do your dark web shenanigans. In this case, it can triangulate the path of a ship. Since there is end-to-end encryption, Gallahorn won't be able to just intercept it. Because of this explanation, Orga makes Fumitan the communications officer. She's the sailor of the group. While helping with lunches, Kudelia explains what is happening on Earth to Mika. He isn't that educated. We learn that during the Calamity Wars, the 4 blocks of Earth tried to lay claim to Mars and Jupiter. The Crise Autonomous Region is under control of Arbrow. She wants to negotiate freedom with the people of Arbrow. Mika says, "Oh, so you're the one that's gonna make me happy?" Mika knows the exact words to take the wind out of Kudelia. She also learns that he doesn't know how to read. Most of his piloting is intuitive. Also, most kids with Tekadon don't know how to read as well. They are focusing on trying to survive. She wants to help them learn to read, but now she must teach all of them. Nobliss is informed of Coral's death and that the kids are quite amazing for protecting Kudelia. Ein is being questioned by McGillis about Coral and the Gundam. He mentions that he was shaken up by his tactics. McGillis noted that he didn't have any AI-generated moves in Galahorn's database, and Mika's movements are unique. It is in fact the Alea Vignana system. Ein wants to join McGillis's ranks. If you're wondering what language Kudelia is teaching, it is God's chosen language, English. They can't contact Tewaz, so they decide to head to their headquarters. Kudelia is starting to understand just how rough these kids have had it. They get a red alert. An unknown ship approaches. It is Maruba, and he wants his ship back. Maruba demands that they give back the Will of the Wisps, but they cut off the laser comms. A man pushes him out of the way. He introduces himself as Naze Turbine. Does the dub directly change his name to Wind Turbine, or are they hipsters who keep it Naze?
The name's Naze Turbine.
They are the transport division under Tewaz. It seems Maruba has been working under them, and they want their ship back. Even though CGS doesn't exist anymore, Mika simply says he wants all his friends to stay together, which wouldn't happen if they give in to his demands. That is all Orga needed to hear to decline Naze's offer. Biscuit interrupts. The Turbine team says, "Biscuit, you sound delicious." He suggests that they allow them to use the space highways to finish their job for Kudelia. But Naze says, "Don't come at me with your logic. This is about Praido." The Turbines and their Hammerhead prep for launch. The TIR 0009 Hammerhead is the Turbine's mothership. It has wide front armor that gives the appearance of a hammerhead shark. It also has a nursery for the Heron. Nice. Weapons include 2 anti-aircraft guns, 12 missile launchers, and 5 main guns. Biscuit wished Orga tried to negotiate more. Orga must show a strong front on their first mission. Atra, quick, save the soup! Shino, Mika, and Akihiro will launch. Orga wants Eugene to act as captain of the Will of the Wisps. As he launches in the Hyakurin, the STH-05 Hyakurin is a general-purpose mobile suit used by Tewaz and the Turbines. This is built off of the schematics from the Calamity War that became the Tewaz frame. Because Galahorn has a monopoly on Ahab reactors, they have to steal and use older reactors. It is the first non-Galahorn frame created in some time. This still hasn't reached mass production, and there are only 44 units. These units are made with cheap materials than what are called the single numbers, which are the first 9 machines. This finds a perfect balance between long and short range. Under gravity, its armor is removed. Hyakurins usually operate in pairs and sometimes with the Hyakuri. Weapons include a 100mm rifle cannon, a single-edged blade, a knuckle guard, a 4-barrel rocket launcher, and a revolving grenade launcher. Mobile suits use different frames. Besides the Gundam, Tewaz, and Gray's frames, there are various frames which mobile suits are built off of. Amida Arca launches in a custom Hyakurin. The STH-05AC Amida's Hyakurin is one of the single-number Hyakurins. The Jupiter metal of this mobile suit has a higher purity, which creates more shock absorption, protecting the Ahab reactor. Besides the materials, this is exactly the same as other Hyakurins. Hyakurin means well-trained or well-mannered, not to be confused with Hyakuin, which is a 100-yen store, the equivalent of a Dollar Tree. Mika launches in Barbados' third form. The third form integrates the wire claw that Tekadon took from the battle with Galio's Schwalbe Greys. They send out their secret weapon, the Hyakuri. The STS Hyakuri is a turbine mobile suit used mainly for patrolling. This also uses the Tewaz frame. Between Jupiter and Mars is an asteroid belt, so this machine is designed to scout out debris. It has excellent search capabilities and has large sensors to detect Ahab waves. It has a flight form which tucks the arms in. Weapons include a 110mm rifle, a knuckle shield, a revolving grenade launcher, and a 4-barreled rocket launcher. The pilot is Laughter Franklin. She engages with Mika. The Will of the Wisps sends out a smoke flare in front of the Hammerhead. The two ships then play a game of chicken, almost crashing into one another. Naze turns around like he is in a car with a back windshield. "This is a ship. I'm pretty sure you're just looking at a door. You have monitors in front of you, bro." They turn around and chase Tekadon when an explosion goes off in the cargo block. Orga and a small team snuck on board the ship. They hopped on when the two ships almost crashed. Naze realizes that Maruba turned them into rats by putting the Alea Vignana system in them. He thinks, oh shit, these kids have nothing to lose. Mika uses the wire claw and latches onto Laughter. Meanwhile, Akihiro's Graze is struggling to keep up with the Hyakudens. Mika is slammed into an asteroid, but he uses the mace to stop Laughter Franklin in her tracks. That is when Naze tells everyone to stop fighting, and just in time because Akihiro was about to die. We cut to a flashback to Orga's POV as he storms the Hammerhead and hacks into their systems. Mariba tells them to kill them quickly. Meanwhile, Orga and his team don't have a hard time getting to the bridge. Naze goes, I'm gonna let this play out. Orga comes onto the bridge and aims a gun at Mariba's head. Fun fact, the rolling of the tongue in Japanese is referred to as makijita and is seen as vulgar. Does that mean they find Spanish-speaking people trashy? How unfortunate. Naze tells them not to kill Mariba. After seeing what they are capable of, they are willing to work out a deal. He stops his pilots. Nadi wasn't able to get Barbados at 100%, so he apologizes to Mika and tells him Orga went to strike a deal. Orga goes, so, only women on this ship I see. Naze says, oh, these are my bitches. They want to hire Turbine to help them transport Kudelia to Earth. They also want to be made a subsidiary of Tewaz. Naze says he will connect them to higher-ups. He will still have to convince them. Mariba earlier referred to Kudelia as property. They want to know what he meant. Naze wonders what they know about Galahorn. They created peace during the Calamity Wars. But 300 years later, Galahorn is more of a burden as they act in their own self-interest. Her going to Earth to talk to one of the 4 blocks can shake up the governing systems of Galahorn. He says to ask the old man for more information, referring to Tewaz' boss, McMurdo Barristan. Well, I am parched. Time for some milk-flavored drink in a can. They're heading to Saisei with Turbine, which is a base of operations for Tewaz. They set up laser comms with Mars to find they are almost out of funds back home. It ran out faster than they expected. Mika tells Orga that he wasn't good enough in battle and has to try harder. He and Biscuit talk to Naze about setting them up with traders that can handle Galahorn parts. He realizes they are struggling, so why reject his offer to begin with? It was because they can't break apart this team. Naze says, hey man, I'm all about harems, so that sounds a little Galio to me. Orga says it is because they are connected by the spilt blood of their dead comrades. Naze wonders if Orga is ready for the burden of responsibility that comes with being a leader. He is willing to die for Tekkadan, but Naze says that's dumb and your organization would fall apart. He says they don't sound like comrades. They sound like family. And Naze knows family. Cut to the bitches and the babies. Akihiro and Laughter have a simulated battle. Akihiro loses. There is no Alea Vignana system in the Hyakudens. Mika takes a crack at it. He tells Orga he doesn't want to get left behind, but he reminds him that that can't happen because they are family. They make it to Saisei and meet with McMurdo Barristan. Tewaz is going to buy the parts for a good chunk of change, mainly because Tekkadan has a salvageable Ahab reactor. They decide to celebrate. Kudelia is trying to deregulate half metal on Mars. We will learn that this plays a role in Ahab reactors. Her trying to talk to Eyebrow points to war on the horizon for McMurdo. He suggests that they hire Tewaz as muscle when the bloodshed breaks out. She doesn't know what to do, and Mika tells her that this is a decision she has to make for herself. Whatever choice she makes, blood will be spilt. The kids all get treats while the boys get drunk. Dude, you need to go slow or something. That will happen. They begin the ceremony. In order to join Tewaz, Turbine has to adopt Tekkadan as a big brother, which may piss off the other clans. Afterwards, Kudelia tells McMurdo that she will accept his offer. Mika and a few others are staying behind while Tekkadan and Turbine head out. They will head out after Barbados makes some repairs. Takaki and Biscuit get a message from their sisters. Kudelia gets a message from her mother urging her to come home. She apologizes to Fumitan for getting her involved. Naze wants a liaison on board Tekkadan's ship. This woman is Maribit Stapleton. Orga had a brief run-in with her while throwing up. She's going to teach them a thing or two about business. Eugene says to the kids, stop gawking at this woman. It's my turn to gawk. Orga and Maribit have an awkward elevator ride. Meanwhile, Atra tells Kudelia of her past. She used to work as a maid in a whorehouse and eventually ran away. One day she ran into Mika, who helped her get a job at a shop. Ever since then, she's been making deliveries for CGS. After the simulation training, Akihiro goes out on patrol in the Graze Custom. The EBO-6 TC Graze Custom is Akihiro's Graze, which was originally made of 2 different Grazes. Now with added Tekkadan parts after the head and shoulders were destroyed by the Hyakudens. An extra booster is added. This is painted white and doesn't have the nano-laminate armor. It has the same loadout as the Graze. Takaki joins in the mobile worker. Looks like a man walking his little dog. He confesses to Takaki that he used to have a younger brother. Pirates took their ship and they were sold as human debris. He never seen his brother again. Their sensors pick up AHAB reactors. A squad of man-roadies rushed the two. The UGY R-41 man-roadie is a mid to short-range mobile suit used by the pirates known as the Brewers. This is built off of the roadie frame, which were mass-produced during the Calamity Wars. This unit is a well-rounded machine and very versatile. It is considered a heavy mobile suit and can be used as a tank to defend the mothership. Weapons include Vulcan guns, the Hammer Chopper, which is a short-range weapon, a 90mm submachine gun, and hand grenades. This has the Alea Vignana system. Takaki is being whipped around. That is when Mika attacks one of the man-roadies. Akihito is surrounded by man-roadies when Orga notices another mobile suit approaching. It is Mika and Nadi in the Kutan. The GEE M103 Kutan Type 3 is produced by Euro Electronics, a subsidiary of Teiwaz. This is a transport vessel that can carry a wide variety of payloads, including mobile suits. This has a hydrogen generator instead of an AHAB reactor, which makes its defenses not the best. It also doesn't have nano-laminate armor. It is armed with a pair of Vulcan guns and can optionally carry a pair of 300mm smoothbore guns. Mika launches Barbados from the Crouton. Croutons. He tells Nadi, "Good luck piloting this transport vessel. I'm out. Peace." Nadi is like, "What the hell, man?" However, it's that cliche where they pretend like they can't pilot, and then they pilot it perfectly. "Why'd you complain, Nadi?" After Mika stabs through one of the man-roadies. The two remaining units engage. Last time we mentioned that the man-roadies have the Alea Vignana systems. One pilot notices Mika and Akihito's movements. They too have the Alea Vignana system as well. The pilot focuses on Akihito and is able to destroy the space mobile worker and take Takaki's ejection pod. He hears Takaki say Akihito. As the boy fights Akihito, he realizes this is his brother. While they are fighting, the turbines move in to help. "Where have you been?" Akihito gets Takaki's pod back, but it is crushed pretty badly. The man-roadies retreat. They get Takaki out of the pod, but he is bleeding profusely. Maribit rushes to the hangar and handles business. She really is the only adult here. "Nadi, where you at?" Maribit says Orga not having a doctor on board is irresponsible, and he is failing at his job as a boss. Laughter and Azi notes that the Commander man-roadie frame is very similar to the Gundam frame, even though it doesn't look like it. We will learn soon that this is a Gundam. Naze tells Orga and Biscuit that the pirates that attacked them were the Brewers. They target ships traveling between Mars and Earth, and they know that Tekadon has Kudelia and demand that they hand her over. Their army is no match for Teiwaz, so why are they talking a big game? They wonder if they have a powerful supporter. Meanwhile, Galia recruits more men. One officer boards the ship and says, it smells like red trash on this ship. He's talking about Ein. It's like white trash, but red because of Mars. Get it? Yeah, you get it. Galio and McGillis meet with his father, Isnario. He wants to make his visit with his father short. They go to meet with Almeria, Galio's 9-year-old sister and McGillis's fiancé. What am I doing here, man? You know, I have real engineering skills. I said if I can't make robots, I'm gonna talk about robots. Then suddenly you find yourself talking about 9-year-old arranged marriages. I think we need to burn this all down. I'm too lazy. Let's keep going. The Brewers are feeding McGillis information on where Kudelia is heading. Their visit to Mars showed them how much corruption is happening from within, and that their reach doesn't actually reach that far. They think that they too can handle Kudelia to retain power. Meanwhile, at the Brewer's ship, Akihito's brother, Masahiro, is getting smacked around by their commander, Mr. Snake Tongue, for losing the mobile worker pod. These Brewer kids are wearing uniforms with red lines. They too are human debris. Akihito blames himself for having too much fun. Being a slave his whole life has conditioned him that everything is his fault. But the rest of Tekadon reminds him that they are family. Tekadon and the Turbines plan on teaching the Brewers a lesson. They wonder if someone at Saisei leaked their navigation intel. But as things grow, things get harder to keep track of. Their best option is to wait for the enemy to come to them. They plan on going through a debris field that was left from the Calamity War 300 years ago. There are functional AHAB reactors in the debris field, which ends up pulling more debris towards them. We learn that the AHAB reactors are why there are artificial gravity on the ship. They also made Kudelia look like an idiot in this moment just to teach the audience this. Don't do that. They're going to use the Hyakuri to scout ahead, and Barbados will be equipped with a booster. Mika says he will try his best to save his brother, but I might have to kill him. I didn't mention last episode, but Atra thought about creating a harem with Mika and Kudelia. I just felt we had to bring that up. Anyways, moving on. Barbados has the Crouton booster. The human debris on the Brewer's ship are given one extra block of nutrients. One whole extra block? You think it's better or worse than a calorie, mate? Mr. Snake Tongue comes in and smacks the boys. Mika is learning some English on Duolingo while traveling through the debris field. Stupid Al, you are the antithesis of anime. Orga gives Eugene command of the ship. Manrodes go on patrol. The captain is a bat and a snake. The Brewers are just furries with better tech. The Tekadon ship cuts through the debris field while the Hammerhead goes ramming. The Isaribi uses its wire claws and latches on to the ship. Snake Man's name is Kudal Kadel, and he launches in Gundam Gushun. The ASW G11 Gundam Gushun is one of the Gundam frames used during the Calamity War. This Gundam has 2 Ahab reactors. It allows the unit to remain extremely mobile for how big it is. This is designed specifically for debris fields by the Brewers. This chunky boy has a short flight time. It can withstand the blast of a smoothbore gun. Weapons include the Gushun Hammer, the 90mm submachine gun, Vulcan guns, 400mm Buster Anchor, and 2 hand grenades. It also has the Gushun Chopper, which is a close combat hatchet. Akihiro launches in the Gray Sky. Azi and Amida also launch in their Hyakurins. Mika detaches the booster. No more croutons for this boy. He's in his 4th form. The 4th form is upgraded by Tewaz and the Saisei technicians. They reverse-engineered Calamity War-era parts based on the schematics, and it is more balanced. It resembles the 1st form, though it still isn't at 100%. Meanwhile, Akihiro gives Masahiro a nice big hug. That's nice. He apologizes for giving up on him. Akihiro tells him that he has family and they can join them. Really heartfelt, albeit repetitive at this point, but Masahiro isn't having it. His situation as human debris has been far worse than Akihiro's life, and he can't overcome his nihilism. However, Kudal comes in swinging his big Gushun hammer. Masahiro pushes Akihiro out of the way, and the Gushun Gundam plays whack-a-mole with Masahiro's man Rody. Shino and Dante are leading a team infiltrating the Brewer's ship. They find some kids and think, they're just kids. Shino looks away, and one of those kids takes out 2 people on his team. Good job, Shino. Murder these kids, Dante. Akihiro gets out of his mobile suit to find Masahiro barely alive. Masahiro says that he is trash, but Akihiro says that even if he dies right here, he matters, and one day he will be reborn with their family. Masahiro goes neat and dies right there. Blech. Mika is chasing Mr. Snake Man. They play a cat and mouse game until Mika goes, bored now, ending this, and he stabs the Gundam, killing Mr. Snake Man. McGillis and Galio attend an event held by the 7 Stars. Remember, these are the 7 families that helped bring peace and formed Galahorn, now considered the royal class of Galahorn, full of Nepo babies, or in the case of McGillis, bastards. We learn he is Isnario's illegitimate child. Galio says, you should bang some of these age-appropriate girls before you bang my sister. Dante was able to save some of the children, including the only one that really wants revenge on him. He's like a feral cat. Orga tells the kids, you guys want soup? They go, what is that, like some kind of nutrient block? He wonders why they no longer want to kill them. Orga says, welcome to the family. Shino cries for the men he got killed on this mission. Never turn your back on a child. Naze and Tekadon are able to capture Captain Brooke Kabayan. It's Batman. He kind of has some pig features too. They demand one of their ships and all of their mobile suits. Orga threatens to slaughter him like a pig. Oh, he's a pig man, not a bat. I can't keep up with fashion. They will sell all of this instead of using it, as they don't want to use weapons that killed Akihiro's brother. Meribit suggests that they have a funeral for the fallen. Orga goes, what's that? Meribit has to explain a funeral to the red trash. Orga doesn't get it. It seems that humans in general moved past mourning the dead. It isn't just a Mars thing. Shino wants to do it. He says anything to help Tekadon lessen the pain. Akihiro wants this as well. Meribit can tell that Orga really isn't into it. He just thinks it's better to live than to dwell on the dead. He tells him that the funerals are for the living as well. They decide to put trinkets of their dead comrades in a pod to honor their lost friends. They fire off cannons. One of the kids can't sleep. Atra comforts him, but he wants Fumitan's comfort, as her boobs are bigger. I want a hug from Fumitan. They were able to sell the spoils from the battle with the Brewers. Naze says, hold on, I need to bank out with my woman to assert dominance. Oh, he's still going. Alright. So, you gonna wrap this up, or? Mika hands Kudelia a Martian palm when she realizes he is trembling. She decides to hug him, so he decides to kiss her. She drops the date and says, yo, if you aren't going to eat this, then I am. Focus, Mika. Meanwhile, Noblest decides that he needs to kill Kudelia. Kudelia and Fumitan talk about boys. Ew! They have finally made it to the Earth colonies. They head to Dort 2. Dort 3 is where all the wealthy elites of Earth seem to live. Behind all the colonies is Earth. Everyone gazes at the planet for the first time. They have to make deliveries to Dort 2 for Tewas. While they are handling shipment, Fumitan, Atra, and Kudelia will head to Dort 3 for some shopping. Mika and Biscuit will join them for protection. The turbines have the Gushan in their possession. They take off that frog head to reveal a Gundam head underneath. Akihito really wants to pilot it. The turbines have a base of operations at Dort 6, which is where they're heading during all of this. Naze reminds Tekadon that Galahorn in the Earth's sphere are more competent than the ones on Mars. Unlike the lawlessness of Mars, this place has law and order, so they will have to behave themselves. A ship approaches the Isaribi. Dort 2 seems to be expecting them. The workers of Dort 2 were expecting Kudelia as she is seen as a hero. In some areas, and Tekadon, her knights. The guys go, "What's a knight?" At Dort 3, the girls tell Biscuit and Mika, "Yo, you guys stink." Atra says she can't be around Nutty. Damn, Atra just threw the only black guy under the bus. Mechanics probably do stink though. Biscuit tells Mika that he used to live in the slums of the Dort colonies. He says that he also has a brother that lives here, which is his motivations for coming back, even though he is very hesitant. Atra tells him to imagine if Akihito could see his brother earlier, and that is all the motivation he needed. Back on Dort 2, the workers are underpaid, and the bottom line is the goal around the Earth sphere. Because of this, sick pay isn't paid. Leave is minimal, and people are overworked. They look at Kudelia as hope for change around the Earth sphere. Perhaps what is happening on Mars can happen here. They are a symbol of hope. Orga wonders how they heard of them. He simply says their sponsor. Biscuit calls his brother Savarin, which is a sweet cake. I was hoping his name would be Bagel. Biscuit and Bagel teaming up. They agree to meet. Savarin is looking at Tekadon data when he tells him that he works for them, and the mood changes. At Dort 2, Orga realizes that they were delivering mobile workers to these very rebellious people. They all look at Maribit like, "What's going on, man?" Oh, and fully automatic weapons, too. Orga demands to know who these workers' sponsor is. They say it's Kudelia's proxy. They were told Tekadon will provide them with weapons. They have been set up. That is when the police come in. They try to arrest the workers, but they all say screw it, and the revolution begins. Tekadon bails. They can't be caught in between this. Atra goes to help Biscuit, leaving Kudelia to be awkward around Mika. During this entire episode, Fumitan has been acting sketchy. She seems to not be on Kudelia's side. The workers are able to force the police to retreat. They will be back soon, however. Nobilis is informed of what is going on the colonies. He wonders why Fumitan is going off the book. Biscuit meets with his brother and notices Atra with him. He says he has to accommodate one more person, but makes a call to bring the police. The workers live in the slums of Dort 2. They will most likely live there their whole lives, and never even visit the lavish lifestyles that are seen on Dort 3. They say a man named Savarin was once one of them, but was adopted and became an executive that does mediation between the rich and the poor. Meanwhile, Savarin has Biscuit and Atra captive. Atra pretends that she is Kudelia. Meanwhile, Naze is doing, I guess, wife management? Having this many bitches is hard and needs organization. Orga is informed by one of the workers' inside men that Biscuit and Atra have been captured. Orga says, "They got my cook!" He contacts Mika and informs them of the situation. Mika goes to save them alone. Galio is trying to gain entry into the colonies, but the Regulatory Bureau may have caused pushback. The captain tells them they might start a revolution if they enter. It isn't because they are Galahorn. It is because they are part of the 7 Stars. They are on a Half-Beak class ship. The Half-Beak class ship is Galahorn's main vessel and is equipped with an Ahab reactor and nanolaminate armor. The bridge can retract into the body. It has a catapult at the bottom of the ship. Weapons include a main gun, anti-aircraft guns, and missile launchers. It also has an anchor. Savarin tries to get info out of Biscuit, but he says, "You know, Cookie and Cracker are doing pretty well." After arguing, he tells his brother that Atra isn't Kudelia, but his brother is losing all sense of rationality. A masked man approaches Fumitan and Kudelia. He tells them to get out of here as an uprising is about to take place. Nobilis is the one that is trying to kill her. He also says, "By the way, Fumitan's working against you." Okay, bye. She finally admits the truth to Kudelia and runs away. Mika crashes a truck and takes out the guards and saves Biscuit and Atra. As they flee, Savarin tries to stop him, but Biscuit says Tekadon is his family now, and they leave. The workers go, "All right, boys, let's get this revolution started." Tekadon heads back to the hotel to find Kudelia is nowhere to be found. Mika goes to look for Kudelia with Atra following behind. The others have to get back to the Isaribi before the rebellion starts. The workers don't want this to become a battle because they can't win against Gjallarhorn. They just want to use enough force to bring them back to the negotiating table. Oh, that's never gonna work. We flash back to Cudelia's childhood, where she learns a lesson in distribution of wealth. Meanwhile, the Aryan Hood fleet makes their way towards the colony. I know it's a Welsh word, but it sounds pretty close to another one. Fumitan runs into some G-men who tell her to stop messing around and to handle Cudelia. Their boss isn't happy with her. Saverin can't bring forth negotiations and things are getting tense. The workers begin announcing their demands. Fumitan wonders who she is fighting for when she runs into Cudelia. She leads them towards the workers who think she is here for them. Mika spots her on the news. Atro runs to warn the others. Face touch. An explosion goes off. Galio's ship caused the explosion. This causes a riot to break out. Gjallarhorn is using their mobile workers for riot control. The SAU-17 SAU mobile worker is equipped with a 200mm cannon and a machine gun. So yeah, the workers never had a chance. Somehow Cudelia is the only one who survived this mob. Snipers try to take her out. As they shoot, Fumitan steps in and protects Cudelia. She gives back an old necklace from their past. Fumitan dies on top of Cudelia, and Mika finds the two. She drags her away as she is in shock over Fumitan's death. The news reporters bail as apparently this is happening on all of the Dork colonies. This has sparked a revolution. They all regroup at the hotel. McMurdo calls Nobilis saying he is short-sighted. Cudelia isn't someone that you kill to start a rebellion. She is someone that will grow with the rebellion. McMurdo wants to do business with Nobilis. More workers are being rounded up as the rebellions continue throughout the other colonies. The news tells the workers that Navona, the workers' lead, is dead. Over at Dort 4, the workers infiltrate a factory and steal some mobile suits. These are Spinner Roadies. The UGY R38 Spinner Roadie is a general-purpose mobile suit used by various organizations and is mainly used for colony maintenance and civil engineering purposes. It has a movable sensor on the forehead and can adapt to space and colony use. The command units have an antenna on the head. Weapons include a rifle, the booster hammer, and a 4-tube anchor pod on each leg that fires spike rods. They launch. The Aryan Hood fleet launches to retaliate on the outside of the colonies. Grazes move in to attack. All the workers' mobile suits and their ship's missile pods are malfunctioning. They go down fast without their weapons working properly. Galio's team is watching from afar. This was all calculated by the Audit Bureau. They give the workers the hope they need to fight back. Then they crush them, thus eliminating all future hopes. As auditors, they are tipping their hand to see how Gjallarhorn reacts to the conflict. Teganon is trapped in the colony and can't make it to the Isaribi. They watch the news as the workers are getting obliterated. Orga wants to listen to Tewaz's orders, but Cudelia says that they can't head to Earth before helping out here. The news reporters are getting word to cut their feeds from the public and to stop reporting the truth. Teganon needs to find an elevator. The news crew wants to interview Cudelia. Biscuit says go with it because the journalists have their own hangar. But why? Akihito is with the turbines. He's going to join up with Teganon. Dante helps deliver Barbados. Careful, Dante. He takes in too much data. Dante and Nadi get Barbados to join the battle. Once Mika joins, so too do Galio and Ayn. Galio is in the Kamaris. He engages with Mika. The ASW G66 Gundam Kamaris is a Gundam frame from the Calamity Wars and has 2 Ahab reactors. This is a close combat mobile suit and uses the gun gear as its main weapon. This is a lance, which is used for hit-and-run missions. This Gundam can turn on a dime. Other weapons include a combat knife and slash discs concealed in the shoulders. The rest of Teganon make it to the back of the Isaribi. Shino launches in the Ryusei Go. The EB-06 TC-2 Ryusei Go, also known as a Graze Custom 2, is a Graze with Tewaz parts. Specifically, it has the skirt of the Hyakuren. Teganon salvaged the Alea Vignana system from a man roadie. Shino painted this unit with pink nanolaminate armor because he could. It also uses armor of the Kutan booster, which it can also attach. Weapons include a 120mm rifle, which can be reconfigured into a short rifle, and a battle axe. Ryusei Go means meteor in Japan. Oh, this is gonna blow up. Ayn in a Schwab Graze fights Shino. He says, "Hey man, that's Crank's old Graze. What did you do to it?" He was just getting over Crank too. You triggered him while fighting. Mika says, "Oh hey, it's Chocolate Man." "Hey Chocolate Man." Mika takes a slash disc to the face and drops his mace. Cudelia contacts Nobilis. This dude is either eating or naked every time we see him. Galio charges Mika when Akihito comes in piloting the Gushian Rebake. The ASW G11 Gundam Gushian Rebake is a modified version of Gushian after taken from the Brewers. This used modifications from the turbine, using spare parts from Gundam Barbados. The Alea Vignana system is taken from a man roadie. Unlike the original, this has extra sensors making it capable of long-range support. It has 2 modes: normal mode for close and medium range combat, and aiming mode for long range. Weapons include a shield, made of the Gushan's old back armor, a halberd, a 120mm long-range rifle, a smoothbore gun, a Gushan chopper, which is a hatchet, and a battle blade. Ein almost hits the Isaribi. The 7 Stars fleet are told to back off as the Arient Hood fleet moves in. The 3 Tekkanon mobile suits prep for a fleet battle when Kudelia broadcasts herself to the world. Tekkanon are ready to take on the Arient Hood fleet when Kudelia speaks to the world. She essentially calls out Galahorn. They were once peacekeepers of the world, but now sees that they are truly trying to create a police state. She says, "I dare you to shoot me down on live TV, bitch." The Audit Bureau moves in and everyone puts down their arms. Watching from afar is Montag and Toto, that Hitler-looking asshole. He mentions that they lay down arms most likely at the orders of the African Union. Tekkanon's plans were to dock around Earth orbit and rent a shuttle to head down to Earth, but now Galahorn knows they are coming, so they have to find another way. That is when they are met with Montag. Meanwhile, Ein is considering getting the Alea Vignana system. Galio says that it is subhuman. Ein thinks of himself as subhuman anyways, as he is half Martian, half Terran, and is treated as an other by both cultures. It's like how Japanese people treat Happas as others. Got him, Japan! Sometimes you suck. Montag is representing the Montag Company and wants to help Kudelia with a revolution, but proposes it in the form of business. Nobilis and McMurdo are trying to make moves and take half metal. Remember, half metal is a real thing and is used in electronics like hard disk drives, but here it is used as shielding for Ahab reactors. And in this case, it is Martian half metal, which is what Kudelia is trying to fight for. Martian rights for miners working to get these resources. It seems like the limited amount of half metal is what prevents Ahab reactors from being commonly used outside of the military. These can probably solve everyone's energy problem if they all work together. But this is Gundam, that won't ever happen, bitches. Robots go boom boom. Montag brings Tekkanon free weapons and parts, but Nadi says the wisest thing. While Orga and Biscuit are talking to Montag, Mika comes over and says, "Oh hey, it's Chocolate Man." He was able to instantly recognize that this is McGillis. He says that they are working towards a similar goal, and he's trying to snuff out the corruption within Galahorn. They have to keep this quiet, or he will call off the deal with Kudelia. Meanwhile, we meet Carta Issue and her fleet. She is a part of the Issue family, one of the 7 Stars. Her father is the head of the Issue family. Her last name and eyebrows are fitting. Girls got issues. Her fleet is going to steal all of Galio's glory. She is commander of the Earth Orbit Outer Fleet and is a part of the Audit Bureau. Shino and Akihito continue their training in the simulator. Kudelia is not holding it together after the loss of Fumitan. Atra and Mika remind her that she stopped death with just her voice and that Orga can't even do that. Mika does a super effective hug. It looks like Tekkanon is going to take Montag's deal, even though this doesn't look like a good one. The team is getting close to Earth. Carta gets a call from Galio. His face is enough to trigger her. "How dare you look at me like that? Screen off." Get wrecked, Galio. It wouldn't be Gundam without noble families fighting one another. This one's quick to the draw, though. Eugene and Shino teases one another, but I wish they would just kiss and get it over with. I know it's Yamagi that ends up liking Shino, but all the sexual energy is between these two bros. Also, that's way too many energy blocks, Shino. You are going to get constipated. We learned through Nepo Baby Galio that Nepo Baby Carta was recently promoted to Colonel. She seems to have been hostile towards Galio his whole life. Just ignore her text, bro. Alright, bitches, give Daddy a hug. Carta sets up a blockade of half-B-class ships in front of Tekkadan's flight path. They fire, but then pick up 2 Ahab reactors. It is Eugene commanding a brewer's ship that they stole, towing Orga's Isaribi behind him. This guy named Chad is not living up to his namesake. Eugene connects his Alea Vignana system to the entire ship. Always carry tissues. Orga goes wide while the brewer's ship takes on most of the attack. It then releases nano-mirror chaff. This is effectively powdered nano-laminate armor that messes with Ahab reactor's sensors. Their sensors are down and Carta has to rely on sight. She mentions that Galahorn already found this material useless in battle, and she proves it by blowing the chaff away with ease. Eugene's ship then attacks this thing. Look, if it's not the Bisco, the Half-Beak, or the Skipjack class ship, the show doesn't seem to be interested in telling us what it is. Eugene rams it and he is going to need more tissues. This was all a distraction to get Kudelia on a shuttle, but they are suddenly attacked by Ein and Galio. Shino and Mika engage while Akihito protects the shuttle. More grazes come in. At the same time, so too does Azi and Laughter come in the Roe. The STH-05R Roe was originally intended as additional equipment set for the Hyakudens. This is a refit of the turbine's 2 Hyakudens, including Amida's Hyakuden. This is to hide their identity, as the Hyakudens are associated with Teiwaz, and they are trying to keep a low profile on Earth. This is lighter than the Hyakuden, and thus more mobile. It has a large booster on the back while under Earth's gravity. Weapons include a short rifle, a heavy club, a 130mm assault rifle, and a revolving grenade launcher. Barbs is rocking the 5th form. The 5th form has a waist booster and adds a reactive armored chest piece. It also has new forearms. These parts were provided by Montauk. The booster is from Ein's Schwab Grace. The reactive armor is specifically to counter the Kimari's hit-and-run attacks. Orga, Biscuit, and Atra are escorting Kudelia. Shino is trapped by Ein, but he goes to help Galio, who is going off about his pride. Mika's response is,
Awesome.
If I had a nickel for every time a Japanese person went off on his pride, I'd be a rich man. Mika shoots his arm motors as a distraction and uses the Kimari's gun gear lance against himself. However, Ein pushes Galio out of the way and takes the brunt of the attack. Mika says, bored now, leaving. Ein says he didn't want Galio to lose his pride. Ugh, we need a pride counter. As Mika catches up with the shuttle, a squad of Grey's Ritters appear. The EBO-6R Grey's Ritter is the sister to the Greys, used by Carta's Outer Earth Orbital Fleet. Carta uses the commander variant of this unit. This mobile suit maintains the old Gallahorn peacekeeping tradition and is reflected in its sleeker design. Unlike the Battle Axe, this Grey's has the Nightblade. It has a head spear sensor and can attach a booster unit if needed. Its only other weapon includes a 120mm rifle, which can be reconfigured into a short rifle. As Mika fights one of the Grey's Ritters, Chocolate Man comes in to help in a red mobile suit. It is the Grimgurdy. Grimgurde. I assume it's German, so Grimgurda? I don't know, man. The VO8-1228 Grimgurda uses the Valkyria frame, produced at the end of the Calamity War. This fell under the radar because it was overshadowed by the Gundam frame at the time. Only 10 frames were made. One other frame will show up in this series, and the rest are MSVs. This is very light and moves well in space. It will go on to influence the Gyrail series. Weapons include the Valkyria shield, Valkyria blade, and 110mm Valkyria rifle. It also has sub-sensors in the forehead. The shuttle begins breaking through the atmosphere. Chocolate Man bails while Mika handles the rest. He needs to get onto the shuttle with others or he's gonna break up on re-entry. He uses an enemy Nightblade against the Grazer Ritters. He says, I can handle this, and he rides a Graze like a surfboard, taking the brunt of the burn-up on re-entry. No big deal. As Tekadon unloads on Earth, they are met with an older man. Meanwhile, Galio tells the doctor, you gotta save this dumb man. But it looks like the only way that Ein can live is that if they make him a cyborg. Human cybernetics is seen as grotesque and reminds people on Earth of the Calamity War. We see this in the interaction between Tekadon and Fishman on Earth. Alea Vignana Systems isn't a thing on Earth. Nadi has robot legs, and people look at him weird as well. Also, they don't know what fish is. In space, McGillis tells Galio to turn Ein into a robot. Specifically, he should get the Alea Vignana system. Kudelia finally meets with the old man, who is Arbrow's prime minister. They all eat fish. Mika decides to just eat his Mars palms. The Arbrow prime minister is named Tokonosuke Makanai. However, they aren't in Arbrow. They're in Oceanian Federation territory. This is because Gallahorn isn't permitted inside this territory. He tells them that there are reforms actually happening in the Dork colonies, thanks to her. This will seem to only hurt the African bloc in the long run. Kudelia gets to the point and talks about deregulating half-metals on Mars. The reason he is in Oceania is because he was forced to resign due to corruption and exiled here. So there is nothing he could really do for her. They feel they came all this way for nothing. But there may be another way. Makanai wants to hire Tekadon to take them to Arbrow as an election is coming up. But this isn't wise. The incumbent has support for Gallahorn, and Makanai won't be welcomed. Kudelia says that Tekadon's job is fulfilled, and they don't have to be burdened by her anymore. They get a call from Eugene, Dante, and Chad. They're still alive. An Oceanian colony is harboring them and the turbines. Orga wants to go big with Tekadon, but Biscuit has had enough and is ready to quit. He wants to keep this small and local to Mars. We learn that Eugene gave Biscuit a private message. It seems his brother committed suicide. Orga decides that they are taking on Makanai's job. Meribit tells him about Biscuit's brother. Atra gives Kudelia a fish, but Mika says, "Hey man, don't overlook the Mars palm. Your poops will never be the same." Orga tells Meribit that Biscuit always went with his plans, so him not joining is off to him. That is when Makanai contacts them. Gallahorn is demanding that they are handed over regardless of Oceanian territory. Carta issue and her fleet prepare for an attack. Gallahorn ships approach Tekadon's location in Oceania. They decide to take Makanai and Kudelia off the island and head to Arbrow Parliament in Edmonton. They need to get a ship, which Kudelia says she will handle. Yamagi really wants to head back to Mars, but he knows Gallahorn will always be chasing him. Shino tries to cheer him up, but Yamagi is thinking about those butt cheeks. Ride Mass and Takaki plant some charges under the bridge. Kudelia asks Montag for a transport. He wants to use her, so this is perfect. Biscuit and Orga make amends, but there is still much they have to talk about after this battle is over. Like back on Mars, Biscuit operates Orga's command mobile worker. Damn, Biscuit's not just butter. This boy's got some beef. The Outer Earth Orbit Regulatory Joint Fleet moves in on aircraft carriers that look cool. Too bad there isn't any data on these bad boys. All I know is that they're called Gallahorn land ships. Here, enjoy the line art. This fleet is led by Corliss, brother of Orless, the first person to get wrecked by Mika's mace. They begin their attack. Alright boys, no shirts during this battle. Mika whips out his special mace, or winch mace. This has a chainsaw. Barbie Gundam is in the 5th form ground loadout. It's the same but with the reactive chest armor removed. Mika tells Akihiro to follow his tingle. The fleet launches Gray's ground types. The EB-06J Gray's ground type is a variant of the standard Grays with large thrusters added for high mobility in Earth's atmosphere. It has an additional flight booster. The armor is lighter than the standard Grays, but can still utilize many parts of the Grays line for efficiency. Weapons include a 120mm rifle which can be reconfigured into a short rifle, a battle blade similar to the Nightblade, and a shield. As the ground Gundams move in, Carta's Graze Ridders attack from the sky. Aji and Laughter handle the ground Grazes while Tekadon handles Carta. Carta is in the Graze Ritter Commander type. The EB-06 RS Graze Ritter Commander type is Carta issue's personal unit. It is more or less the same as a normal Graze Ritter, with the exception of a larger head crest, slightly different chest armor, and longer shoulder thrusters for higher output. It also has red accents. Weapons include the 120mm rifle, reconfigurable into a short rifle, the Nightblade, and a halberd. It also has additional sensors and a glider unit. Everyone pose! Hey, no fair, Akihiro. Carta is playing by JoJo rules. That doesn't work on these kids. The team rushes in on Mika and Shino. Mika says, "Hey you, guy number 6 specifically, check out my mace." He breaks their formation. Poor random guy in the back thought he had it easy that day. Carta is being outmaneuvered by Tekadon. Some ground grazes break through the turbine's formation and attacks Akihiro, but he ain't having any of it. Ride Mass and Takaki spot mobile workers sneaking in from their flanks. The mobile workers attack and search for Kudelia, but there is nothing there. They self-destruct Makanai's estate, taking out some of the foot soldiers. Kudelia and Makanai are on the other side of the island with half of Tekadon. As Orga and Biscuit make the retreat, Carta attacks the mobile worker with Orga on top. Mika comes in to help. It takes a moment for Orga to realize what just happened. Orga goes to check on Biscuit. Biscuit is fighting for Cookie and Cracker, and he fights until his last breath. Carta and some of her men are able to make their way while Mika is distracted by Biscuit. Tekadon mourns his death. They wonder what they are going to say to Cookie and Cracker. Orga is in shock. Meanwhile, McGillis is sad that Carta didn't die in battle. Or happy? He's being too tongue-in-cheek. Isnario meets with Heinrich Fleurs, who is expected to be the next representative of Arbrow, as she has Gallahorn's support. Isnario is also the legal guardian of Carta after her dad fell ill. He has control over the Issue family and the Bodine family after marrying off McGillis to a child. Now he's trying to get control of Arbrow. Carta yells at Corliss, but they got word from Isnario and they need to pull out. Galio doesn't want to put Iron through Alea Vignana system surgery. They learn that Carta's mission failed. He shows Galio a mobile suit frame that uses the Alea Vignana system. Everyone is mad and upset. Shino tells Eugene about Biscuit. Kudelia wants to change their course. They will head to Anchorage, Alaska, and take a Tewas freighter to Edmonton. Makanai is also going to need his supporters to lobby for him in the meantime. Mika tells Orga, "Bitch, you better order me around." This gets Orga out of his slump after Biscuit's death. They head to Anchorage and transfer to a train. Isnario is willing to give Carta one more chance by defeating Tekadon on their way to Edmonton. Isnario says it was actually McGillis that wanted to give her a second chance. We flash back to Galio, Carta, and McGillis as children. She helped McGillis when he was at a low point, so he wants to help her in her operation. Makanai notes that the kids are out for revenge. Teiwaz delivered 20 Union mobile workers to Tekadon. The Union new model mobile worker is a variant of the Union mobile worker seen during the Dort Rebellion. It is equipped with a 40mm machine gun turret, a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun, and a 40mm grenade launcher. These do not have the Alea Vignana system. Meribit tells Orga not to drag the young children into this, but the young children says this is their choice. McGillis went behind Galio's back and turned Ein into a lab rat. He is now fused with Galahorn's Alea Vignana system mobile suit, the Gray's Ein. The EB-AX2 Gray's Ein is an Alea Vignana system mobile suit designed by Galahorn. For this to work, the mobile suit and pilot must be one, and Ein is essentially a brain in a jar. This allows the mobile suit to move at the speed of Ein's thoughts. This unit is very agile and has extended limbs for more articulation to mimic human movement. There are no cockpit monitors and everything is beamed into Ein's retinas. Weapons include a 40mm retractable shoulder machine gun, a custom large axe, a drill kick, a screen punch, and a pile bunker. This is also probably a glimpse into how people were treated during the Calamity War, which is why this is probably so taboo now. McGillis believes he and Ein will help reform Galahorn. Mika lets Orga know that Biscuit told him that he would never quit, giving Orga a little bit more closure. They detect Ahab waves. It is Carter's team. Carter goes off about her pride. They wonder how they found the route. Orga thinks that someone betrayed them, like Crank at the beginning of the series. Carter challenges Tekadon to a 3v3 duel. She says they will give him 30 minutes. Mika says, "I'll give you my mace now." Carter says, "No, my pride." Mika goes low and gets a hit on Carter. "Check out this sweet kick and this chainsaw on my hammer." He beats her senseless while she babbles about honor. He then breaks her sword before he is able to kill her. Galio approaches and is Kamari's trooper. The ASW G66 Kamari's trooper is the Kamari's final form designed for extended combat. It moves on all four of its legs in trooper form. A hover unit is installed on the rear skirt. Its main weapon is the Kamari's Destroyer Lance, which is bigger than the Kamari's Lance. Other weapons include the Kamari Shield and the Kamari Saber. Mika goes to chase, but Orga tells him and the rest of Tekadon that they don't have to seek vengeance. Galio retreats with Carta, but she passes away, thinking that Galio is McGillis. Tekadon have been fighting Galahorn nonstop for 3 days. They have 6 hours to get Makanai to Edmonton. Orga and the mobile worker team pull back as they are running out of ammo. Meanwhile, the mobile suit team is able to push Galahorn back. They have lost quite a lot. Ride mentions that the rivers can be crossed with mobile workers. Ride wants to fight, and Orga allows it. He didn't want the younger kids to get involved, but they don't have a choice. Everyone begins gathering at Edmonton, along with Isnario. Orga wants Meribit to get the wounded and retreat. The rest are going to act as a diversion for Kudelia and Makanai. Meribit thinks this is stupid and their lives aren't worth this. But like what Orga said at the beginning, this is the freest they have ever been, and they are dying on their terms, which is living a merc life. Takaki puts on Biscuit's hat. He's the new Biscuit. I'm calling you Cheddar Biscuit. Nutty, being the only other adult, also acknowledges that this is all really messed up, but he gets it. The kids should have never been put into this position, but unfortunately, these kids were. No amount of justifying morality is going to change that it happened, and these kids are allowed to exercise their free will because of it. Atra is Crudelia's driver as they are running out of men. She wants to do her part too. They move in to attack Galahorn. Galio pilots his Kamari's trooper. Dios goes down. No, Dios! Who's Dios? They're able to push past the bridge. That is when Eugene and his team come in to help the mobile workers. And Chad, don't forget Chad, a giant mobile suit approaches from the sky. It is the Gray's Ein. They could tell by the reaction time that this has an Alea Vignana system. Ein takes down Aji's Rue. No, not one of the bitches. Laughter is on the defensive. Mika can't help because he is distracted by Galio. Laughter's Rue goes down as well. Ein then goes after the Rusei Go, Crank's old grays, and gets his revenge. No, not Shino. Makanai's caravan infiltrates Edmonton. They cut off LCS within the city. Ein moves into the city as well. Kudelia tries to stop a giant mobile suit with her bangs and her words. He attacks, but Mika comes in and protects them all. He is able to do so because Montag distracts Galio. He takes off his mask to reveal that he is McGillis. Orga, Kudelia, and Makanai regroup with Takaki and rush to Parliament. Ein goes, "So, there's this one guy. His name is Crank." Shino is still alive. Meanwhile, McGillis says to Galio, "Let me tell you about my ideals." What is with these people? He says that Gjallarhorn having the Grey's Ein is proof of their contradiction. This is about bringing to light Isnario's corruption and his scheming with Heinrich. Galia realizes that he is using Ein and feels betrayed by his friend. The two fight. Makanai is able to make it to the assembly just in time. After dropping them off, Orga returns to the battlefield and Mika. McGillis tells Galio, "You know what, bro? I am going to bang your sister." He stabs the Kamaris in the cockpit and Galio goes down. The limiters are off on Barbados, so he lets the Alea system consume him. For the first time, his reaction time is faster than Ein's. Oh, Mika, you good? You popped a blood vessel there. Makanai, still being the acting prime minister, gives Kudelia a platform to speak. Tekadon launches drones to fix their LCS problem. That's kinda neat. Orga tells his men that their mission was a success and to not die here. Ein attacks Mika. Barbados purges the armor, revealing the frame underneath. This gives him a slight edge in speed, and he is able to slice off Ein's arms. Ein cries about Crank. Mika stabs him and shuts him up. Finally, a ceasefire is called. The elections are over, and Makanai was re-elected Prime Minister of Arbrow. He works out a deal with Kudelia regarding the half medal, and they hire Tekadon as military advisors. Meanwhile, McGillis becomes head of the family and advises Isnario to step down and accept punishment. Welcome back to Daddy, bitches. Naze tells Orga to continue fighting for the ones they lost. Mika can't see well out of his right eye, and his right arm doesn't work, except when he is connected to the Alea system. He can still pilot the Gundam. Kudelia isn't returning to Mars with them. She says her goodbyes to Tekadon, but people are still making moves in the background. But for now, Tekadon returns home to Mars. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 1. In retrospect, after coming off of Witch from Mercury and GQ Magazine, it is nice to see a show that can pace itself properly. Plus, it was a simple story of just getting to Earth. They kept the story simple and allowed the characters to drive everything. Next season, we will see Tekadon grow, McGillis becomes the head of the family, and we will meet other members of the Seven Stars. And Kudelia returns to Mars. There is also that thing that happens before Season 2. That thing? You know, that thing. We'll get to it. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, don't go popping blood vessels. Peace.